Hey Artnerds! So today I wanted to try changing up my order of operations a little bit. We are combining my lineless marker technique with inking with a dip pen. So this is the sketch that we're starting out. It is a little outfit of the day doodle in red lead on watercolor paper. So I begin by having already swatched my markers, so I am ready to go. And since I am doing this in kind of a sketchier style, I'm going to use what I think of as my over blending technique. And that is where we still leave a lot of the white of the paper and we utilize the colorless blender to really push the colors back. So this is great if you have a limited number of alcohol markers at your disposal. It's a good way to sort of get the most out of them without having to buy too many additional colors. So I go ahead and I fill in the skin tone and the blush. And if you are looking for my recommendations for skin tone and blush colors, let me know down in the comments below. And if you're looking for more alcohol marker videos, make sure you subscribe and hit that little bell notification so you never miss a video from Natto Soup. Now I'm just adding in some of the shadows, taking care to add it underneath the neck, in the ears, and where the hair would cover the face. And now I'm filling in the base color of the face. Since this is an outfit of the day illustration, it is a self-portrait. I have very, very dark brown hair, so I am filling this color in as my highlight. Next, I'm adding just a few little freckles using suntan and adding a little bit of additional shading. And the wonderful thing about learning how to draw, even learning how to draw cute, basic, cartoony things like this, is you can draw whatever you wish. You can do your own portrait in this style. Next, I am adding another layer. This is the first layer of my hair color. Remember, a minute ago, I mentioned having very, very dark hair. You can see there is a very stark transition between my highlight color and this dark brown. And if you're looking for drawing tutorials, you are in the right place. Click on this card here to find one of my drawing tutorials for drawing cute, cartoony characters. Or join me on Fridays for my Power Hour live stream, and make sure you request a character self-portrait sketch using my handy-dandy request form. Now I'm using a very light blue to color in the highlight on the eyes, and orange to color in my undershirt. And I'm just using 2 tones of orange there. For this style, I don't really rely too much on using shadow colors. I just use a darker version of the color rather than a violet or a blue violet or a gray to add shadows. And if you hear that fierce meowing in the background, that is my gray cat Bowie demanding attention when there is no attention to be given to him. Now I'm doing a third layer with a very, very dark brown. I'm trying to get this brown as close to black as possible without using a black. And I am filling in my sweater using a warm gray. Now, when you are using markers on watercolor paper, it is very, very blendy, and the colors tend to stay wet a little bit longer. The alcohol takes longer to evaporate out of watercolor paper since it is a thicker paper with a texture to it, not a coated paper like most marker users use. But it has a tendency to dry your markers out, and you also need to let it dry a little bit longer if you want nice, clean transitions between colors. Adding in a darker gray to help delineate the shadows. And now I'm using the first of my quote-unquote black colors. So this is W8, which is a very dark, warm gray. And it is perfect as the start of a black. You always want to build up to your darkest color. This is how we get nice, sort of bouncy colors that have a lot of liveliness and depth to them as we build up to our darkest tone. And now I'm using W10 to take that even further. It's a little bit hard to see in this video, but I promise it definitely adds some nuance. And I am coloring in the whites of the shoes using a nice light blue, blending that out with a B000, and then further blending that out with the blender marker. So I'm basically blowing these colors out. Now I'm filling in the leggings using a cool gray. This is C8. And I know it looks black in this image, but it's really more of a blue gray. And now I am using a custom filled Copic sketch using a Ranger Adirondack ink. It's their pitch black, something like that. It's a brownish black, just to add the black details onto the sweater. And I'm using that same medium blue to draw a shadow underneath and blowing that out with the B000. Adding another layer of shading to the leggings, and I apologize, I know it's hard to see. And filling in the shoes with a cool gray, and then adding shadows with that black we just talked about. Now they're black Converses, but like I mentioned earlier, we need somewhere to go. We cannot start with our darkest color. Now I'm going to try inking over this using a G-nib dip pen, and it's a little bit challenging because it's watercolor paper, and sometimes watercolor paper can take ink unusually, especially if you're using a sharp dip pen. It can tend to cut or nick into the paper. And I'm really just trying to do kind of heavy cartoony inks. Another thing I should have done, this is markered in a Mossery sketchbook. So what I should have done is I should have removed the illustration from the sketchbook. That way my hand isn't resting on the spiral binding and it doesn't create a point of pivot, so that I could get a more accurate ink. And this was inked with P.H. Martin's Black Star High Carb ink, which is a waterproof India ink. It is not alcohol marker proof. And I thought this would be a great opportunity to try switching up my order of operations and try inking with a dip pen after I've markered. When I marker, I find that even marker proof inks like Kaimei Sol K, when you use a dip pen, it's applied so thickly, the marker still tends to reactivate the ink. So by inking after I've markered it, I still get the inked effect of using a dip pen, and I also get my marker illustration. However, on this channel I have loads of other marker tutorials that demonstrate lots of other methods of inking and markering using alcohol markers. So if this seems interesting, if this is something you want to learn more about, stick around, browse around, and as always, let me know if there's something you want to see, something you feel is missing. I'm happy to record more tutorials or do demonstrations during my wonderful Power Hour live streams. And this art is very reminiscent of cute card making stamps, but it was something that I came up with myself. And I really want to encourage all of you to put the time into learning how to draw, or at least how to customize things. It's a wonderful way to be able to make custom art, and it adds very little additional time to your creation process. And it feels ever so much more personal when you can change the hairstyle, you can change the clothing, not just adjust the colors. How excited do you think a kid or a friend would be to receive a beautiful handmade card that you drew? I know I would love that. I love getting art from my friends. Even when the art is imperfect, I still love it because it's so much more personal than a stamp. So my ink blobbed out a little bit. I will show you guys in a moment how you can correct it. And I am turning and twisting my paper around so that I can get the best angle for inking. When you're inking or when you're markering, feel free to turn your paper to what is most comfortable for your wrist so that you can confidently pull lines. I found my ink to be a little bit drippy last night. It was very humid outside. So if you are struggling with controlling your ink, it may be an atmospheric or a weather problem, not a personal problem. If you're interested in learning more about inking, I have lots of wonderful inking tutorials here on this channel as well. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, helping me ink this cute little piece. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you again really soon.